Akim Olufemi Gbajabiamila. God bless you all.
A bill for an act to extend the 2022 Appropriation Act and supplementary budget.
House passes bill to extend the implementation of capital aspect of the 2022 Appropriation Act and expiration of 2022 supplementary budgets.
The Chief of Defense Staff and the Chief of Army Staff should be summoned to appear before the House.
And Chiefs of Defense and Army Staff to appear before the House over attacks on residents of Boko by suspected men of the Nigeria Army. A warm welcome to yet another fresh edition of House Ticket as we take you through recent events and deliberations in the House of Representatives in the nation's capital, Abuja. Our lineup includes the consideration and passage of a bill for an act to further extend the implementation of the capital aspects of the 2022 Appropriation Act and the 2022 supplementary budgets. Aside this, the House also considered some establishment bills at second reading alongside other matters. Let's begin the program after this short break. Stay tuned.
The entire purpose of the legislative agenda is to direct our legislative resources and efforts in a coordinated effort to ensure the well-being of the individual in a life of safety and freedom. That is a high ambition, but it's well worth the effort. We have passed landmark legislation to fix our oil and gas industry, reform the police, and reorganize the corporate administration system in our country. We have considered and passed meaningful legislation that impacts all areas of our national life.
We'll start with reports from plenary of 28th March to 30th March 2023. The House, among other things, considered a motion on the assault of residents in Boko by men of the Special Forces Brigade. It also considered the presidential declaration on the National Park Order, amongst other matters. The details of these and more are presented from our studio.
Read the long title.
On the 28th of March 2023, Representative Kolakpo Korede moved a motion under matters of urgent public importance on the need to honor the late elder statesman, General Oladipo Dia.
The late general was a seasoned administrator, disciplined and patriotic officer, nationalist, indeed, an elder statesman who served this nation tremendously, selflessly and diligently as the Chief of General Staff. During previous to this year, he served as the Chief of Defense Staff and was the military governor of Ogun State between January 1984 and August 1985. He joined the Nigeria Defense Academy, Kaduna, and was part of the active soldiers, a gallant soldier who fought during the Nigerian Civil War between July 6, 1967 and January 15, 1970.
The lawmaker prayed the House to urge the federal government to immortalize the late General Dia and send a delegation to commiserate with his immediate family as well as with the people of Ogun State.
Those against me say nay.
The House voted
Ayes
on
have
and
it.
adopted the motion, after which it observed a minute's silence for the late elder statesman.
The soul of late general and
2016 to 2018 federal government.
Moving on to motions from the order paper, Representative Abubakar Hassan Fulata moved a motion titled Rescission of the House Resolution on the 2016 to 2018 Federal Government External Borrowing Rolling Plan.
Because the National Assembly approved the sum of 22 billion 798 million 446,700 US dollars only under the 2016-2018 medium-term external borrowing rolling plan. Aware of the communications from the Federal Minister of Finance requesting approval of modifications to the financing proposal for the Nigerian Railway Modernization Project Kaduna-Kano segment occasioned by COVID-19 pandemic, whereof China Exim Bank withdrew its support to finance the project. Also aware to secure the funds for the project, the contractor CCECC Nigeria Limited, in collaboration with the Federal Ministry of Transportation, engaged China Development Bank as the new financier in the sum of 973,473,971.38.
The House resolved to rescind its decision on the financier and harmonized terms and approve the change of financier from China Exim Bank to China Development Bank. It also approved relevant conditions provided in the harmonized term sheet.
I rise to move a motion.
Still on motions from the order paper, Representative Mark Billa moved a motion on the need to investigate the assault on residents of Boko and guests of Old Ban Hotel Boko by men of the 401 Special Forces Brigade of the Nigerian Army.
I believe that the Chief of Defense Staff and the Chief of Army Staff should be summoned to appear before the House to explain how their members, their men of the Army, are not trained appropriately with rules of engagement in civilized civilian communities and have resorted to attacking people. And finally, Mr. Speaker, this same team of the 401 Special Brigade are alleged to have killed 2 people for allegedly snatching ballot boxes. Mr. Speaker, I do not want us to set a precedence in this country where men of the military can kill extrajudicially. While we appreciate the men of the military for their service and we thank them for their service, we believe that they, above every other security agency, should uphold the conduct of rules of engagement with the civilian public.
The House took several resolutions on the subject matter, amongst which is to condemn the assault on Old Ban Hotel Boko and its guests by men of the Nigerian Army on 18th March 2023, urge the Chief of Defense and Army Staff to commence a comprehensive investigation of the incident, ensuring evidence is obtained from civilian witnesses with the view to identifying the soldiers that were responsible for this mayhem, invite the Chiefs of Defense and Army Staff to appear before the House to explain the circumstances behind the unprovoked attack and why these military officers did not carry out proper identification or inform the civilians about their mission. Explain the military's rules of engagement during election monitoring and other engagements with the civilian population, especially considering the extrajudicial killing of 2 young men in Boko by the same 401 Special Forces Brigade on 18th March 2023 for alleged ballot box snatching. Brief House about actions currently taken by military authorities to investigate the unprovoked assault of residents of Boko, including Representative Pam Sokpo, and the shooting to death of 2 persons in Boko on 18th March 2023. The House also mandated the Committee on Army to ensure compliance and report to the House within 2 weeks.
Those in favor of the motion say aye.
The motion was voted on and the prayers adopted. The House also considered the Presidential Declaration of National Park Order 2022. The Deputy House Leader, Representative Peter Patterson, moved the motion on the matter.
In consonance with the provision of Section 18 of the National Park Service Act, the President communicated in writing requesting the concurrence of the House on the 10 new national parks. Aware that the Declaration Order 2022 set out as this: A, the declaration of new national parks; B, name, situation, and limits of the new national parks; and C, constitution of the National Parks Management Committee.
Lawmakers made their contributions on the motion.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, I am worried regarding the status of existing parks in the country. And I am worried because in this concurrence that is being sought, there has not been provision or knowledge regarding the framework for the effective management of those parks. If I may refer to you the Baturia, for instance, National Park in Jigawa, this is where you have birds coming from all over the world, and it attracts tourists. Living in under the hands of the state is now depleting that very tourist attractive center. And preserving it means enhancing our economic potentials in the country. And by doing this declaration, it cannot be done just like that. There will be more opportunities for employment for forest guard that will man the places. The framework is already there under the national park. Same thing, I will mention to you about the one on the plateau, the game reserve, where you have rare species of animals in that space. But as of today, it's being managed by the state, who do not have the capacity. And I think taking that as and then making a national asset is not bad.
On this motion is that our power on this matter is limited. It's either we concur or we don't concur. And the issue here is this: creating these reserves is the exclusive right, power, and privilege of the president. He has so done that. Mr. Speaker, the only thing you can do here is to put the question, the idea of what they do with the reserve is the exclusive right of. We should not give to serve the power we don't have. The law says, let not cogit ad impossibilia.
The state government doesn't have the capacity, Mr. Speaker, to manage and control some of this forest. And if Mr. President is asking us to concur with this position, in other words, he is doing us fairness by giving us the opportunity to discharge our constitutional obligation of ensuring that we make laws for peace, order, and good governance.
It is important that if the federal government will take this game reserve, it is better for us. And currently on the Palgore game reserve, Mr. Speaker, I think the military have taken some portion of it under the military, and that has helped us to sanitize the activities of bandits around that area. So it's already within the federal government and the military. So I think it's important that we should just agree and concur with what Mr. President has said.
The House in its resolution approved the Presidential Declaration Order 2022, designating 10 named parks with the status of national parks.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Against say nay. That's have it.
You are still onto the program House Tickets, bringing you a summary of activities in the House of Representatives from March 28th to 30th, 2023. So far, we have considered the consideration of motions both as a matter of urgent public importance and from the order paper, highlighting the resolutions of the House. We shall now move on to bills considered at various stages, the high point of which was the passing of the Bill for an Act to extend the implementation of the capital component of the 2022 Appropriation Act and supplementary budget. Keep watching for details.
Read the long title.
In the week under review, the House gave accelerated hearing to a bill for an act to further extend the implementation of the capital aspect of the Appropriation Act 2022 and the supplementary budget expiration provision of the budget from 31st March to 30th June 2023 and for related matters. It was presented by Representative Mukhtar Betara, chairman of the Committee on Appropriations, on Tuesday, the 28th of March 2023. The bill aims to extend the time frame for the good governance of the nation and the benefit of Nigerians.
That this House do consider a bill for an act to extend the 2022 Appropriation Act and supplementary budget expiration provisions from the budget of 31st March 2023 to 30th June 2023. I so move.
Those in favor that the bill be read the second time
The
say aye.
bill was voted on,
Against
read
any.
the second time, passed and referred to the Committee of Supply for accelerated consideration.
Clause 1 and only recommendation. Long title. Explanatory memoranda. Thank you.
I move that we do suspend.
After the consideration, Chairman of the Committee on Rules and Business, Representative Abubakar Fulata, moved that the House suspends its relevant rules to allow it to take the third reading of the bill, after which it was passed, thereby extending the time frame of the implementation of the capital component of the 2022 Appropriation Act and supplementary budget till June 30th, 2023 to run concurrently with the implementation of the 2023 budget.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Against say nay. That's it.
Other bills passed by the House at third reading in the week under review include a bill for an act to repeal the National Library Act Cap N56, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and enact the National Library Bill to establish and maintain the National Library of Nigeria, strengthen its statutory functions and for related matters. A bill for an act to establish David Umahi Federal University of Medical Sciences, Oboru, Ebonyi State, and for related matters. A bill for an act to provide for the establishment of an independent office of the Auditor General for area councils in the Federal Capital Territory, and provide for the audit of area councils' public accounts and for related matters. A bill for an act to amend the Federal Medical Centers Act and establish Federal Medical Center Igbo, Oyo State, and for related matters. For second reading, the House considered a Senate bill titled A Bill for an Act to create the framework for the regulation of franchising and to guide the relationship between franchisors and franchisees in Nigeria and for related matters. It was presented by the Deputy House Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that a bill for an act to create the framework for the regulation of franchising and to guide the relationship between franchisors and franchisees in Nigeria and for related matter, HB 2185, be now read for the second time.
The bill generated debate.
I think in bringing this bill from the Senate, I believe that we're over-legislating. We're over-legislating to the fact, Mr. Speaker, that this particular subject matter is covered by CAMA. Mr. Speaker, if we define the issues of franchising, we're talking about authority granted by a government or company to an individual or groups, enabling them to carry out specified commercial activities. Mr. Speaker, these are particular issues that are covered by CAMAs, including relationships and partnership. So bringing this bill, it will be in conflict with the authority granted by this House to CAMA.
There's no conflict. It's just you're saying that the law is superfluous. It's superfluous, that you already have provisions. Can you refer us to the exact provision in CAMA that takes care of what this bill seeks to take care of, for us to know that this has already been taken care of?
We all know our CAMA contain substantive provisions, not framework. It will therefore be necessary if we can subject this so-called framework and our CAMA to public hearing, so that the players in the business world will be able to see clearly if there is a conflict between the framework and the substantive law.
I would think that the leader of the House, since it is a bill from him, should address us on the economics of it. And how does this tally with our antitrust laws? These are issues that we should be taking a knowledge-based decision. I understand the spirit of camaraderie that exists between the Senate and the House. But those approving the bill for third reading, after second reading, will presuppose that we are in agreement with whatever issues that have been raised in the Senate.
Those in favor, please say aye.
The bill was voted on passed and referred to the Committee of the Whole. Another Senate bill that came up at second reading is titled A Bill for an Act to Amend the Federal High Courts Act 2004 to provide for the increase in the number of judges from 100 to 150 and to make provisions for the regulation of the award of prejudgment in relation to claims bordering on commercial transactions in Nigeria and for related matters.
I stand to present a bill for an act to amend the Federal High Court Act Cap F12, Laws of the Federal 2004, to provide for the increase in the number of judges from 100 to 150 and to make provisions for the regulation of the award of prejudgment in relation to claims bordering on commercial transactions in Nigeria and for related matters, HB 2186. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
The bill was voted on and referred to the Committee of the Whole.
Distinguished colleagues,
still on bills at second reading, Representative Idem Unyime Josiah sponsored a bill for an act to amend the Federal Character Commission Establishment Act 2004 to make provisions for the appointment of the chairman and secretary from different regions of the country to reflect the principles of federal character and for related matters.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that a bill for an act to amend the Federal Character Commission Establishment Act Cap F7, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, to make provision for the appointment of chairman and secretary from different regions of the country to reflect the principle of federal character and for related matter, HB 1563, be read for a second time.
Those in favor, please say aye.
The bill was voted on, read the second time, passed and referred to the House Committee on Federal Character.
I rise to propose that a bill...
Representative Julius Ihobere also sponsored a bill at second reading titled A Bill for an Act to Repeal the Standards Organization of Nigeria Act 2004 and enact the Standards Organization of Nigeria Bill 2022 for the purpose of providing additional functions for the organization, increasing penalty for violation and for related matters.
I rise to propose that a bill for an act to repeal the Standards Organization of Nigeria Act, Cap S9, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and enact the Standards Organization of Nigeria Bill 2002 for the purpose of providing additional functions for the organization, increasing penalty for violation and for related matters, HB 2169, be read the second time. I so propose, Mr. Speaker.
The bill was voted on, read the second time, passed and referred to the House Committee on Industries. Meanwhile, 6 bills were presented for first reading, 5 of which were Senate bills sent for concurrence. The Senate bills are Nigerian Research Council Bill 2023, Federal College of Agriculture, Obiaja, Edo State Establishment Bill 2023, Federal University of Agriculture, Dambata, Kano State Establishment Bill 2023, as well as Federal Medical Center Act Amendment Bill 2023. The House bill is Food Vendors Registration Council of Nigeria Establishment Bill 2023, sponsored by Representative M.T. Monguno.
That ends our package for this week. Let us do this again next time as we keep educating you on the role of the legislative arm of government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in making good laws for good governance. Many thanks for being a part of the program as always. See you next time and God bless.